So we've just looked at how wise attention can allow us to see a situation from a totally new perspective. And now we start to see the gifts. But to have suffering drop away, and as I've said, suffering is optional, then I find one last step to be super helpful, and that is wise action. And that's where I start to engage from my new learning. However I act actually trains my mind. So if I keep doing the things that cause me to feel depleted, I'm going to still think that the world is a scarce place because I think, oh, this world requires me to deplete myself just to make a basic living. Well, I'm going to continue feeling suffering because I'm actually treating myself poorly. And if I treat myself poorly, I'm going to feel like the world is not a good place. Basically, if my actions don't align with where I now see the truth to be, then I'm going to be pulling myself backwards with my own actions. So I need to act from my new understanding. So, like that situation with my husband, I was letting myself get stressed and then taking it out on him. I have to look at my life and find ways that I'm not getting into that stressed place. In my case, I'm adding in some more things that keep me in a restful, playful, parasympathetic oriented place, like daily reminders to feel my energy body and to do things that nourish my body and help me feel grounded. Yoga, kundalini, all kinds of fun things. There's a lot of great ways to just tune in to the slower pace that's natural to my body. Deep breathing. So that's the wise action. The other wise action is going and telling my husband this new commitment I have, expressing my cherishing to him, really noticing that I don't know how long I'm going to have with him. I certainly don't want to waste my time with him on unnecessary upset. So the wise action here is to reorient myself into alignment with my new understanding of the situation. And being honest with him, really, now I can't cheat because he knows. Or with my patients, this whole idea of seeing anybody as having a missing puzzle piece just feels like such a painful way. I don't want anybody looking at me thinking that I've got a missing piece, So when I put together this puzzle, leaving the piece out, I can feel kind of that irritating feeling anytime I look at somebody else and think that something about them is not optimum, that they should be receptive to being happier, or they should acknowledge the good things in their life. I'm seeing them like this when this is not how they are. They're doing their perfect path. In fact, I will come up with any new interpretation that will help me see that truth. It might not be an accurate interpretation, but it's at least closer than the one I was using. For example, somebody who seems to be just intractable and being irritated, there's some people who seem to have a personality disorder, and they really do have this upset that takes them over, and they don't seem to get help. Whatever the situation, I just imagine what could be the reason their soul wants that experience. For example, maybe they're actually a very wise soul who in most other lives helps people who are not taking care of their bodies, abusing themselves, abusing others, being burdened with a personality disorder that they do nothing for. Maybe that's their calling in most of their lives. But to be better at it, they needed to have another life in their client's shoes. So maybe they're a very wise soul who's right now purposefully having a miserable life because it's going to help them in all their other lives. Now, that is an outlandish story. I have no idea if that could be true. But I do know that it creates this peace of seeing a mysteriously troubled life as perfect. And if that person isn't open to changing yet, I know their troubled life is perfect. So I'll take whatever. I'm using my brain. I'm not letting my brain boss me around. I'm going to use it. Okay, you want to be a story maker? I'm going to give you a story that's going to help me settle into the peace of seeing this benevolence that's everywhere. You know, I know from my personal experience that there is this unlimited love flowing through us. I mean, there's no way that a mother's love, the preciousness of the innocence of a baby, that the beauty of a wildflower, an orchid in the jungle. I mean, there's so much that's evidence of this benevolence. And whenever I just drop my beliefs, that's what's there. So I'm certain that this benevolence, it's certainly shown up in my life in every single situation that looked painful. Benevolence was coming through. And seeing something is wrong, it's not going to help me help it. Seeing it as right for the moment with an opportunity to grow and change, sure. I'm going to help it much better. Seeing a baby when they fall is perfect, is going to help me help them. You know, I'll encourage them, I'll lift them up, pat them, hug them, have full confidence in them. You know, seeing the fall as part of the learning to walk is going to make me much better in helping them walk than seeing the fall as wrong. Seeing the fall as wrong, I'm going to be correcting where I don't need to be correcting, worrying where I don't need to be worrying, obsessing. All those things happen when we see a situation as wrong instead of part of the natural process. So it's worth it to me to come up with a story that helps me relax into that knowing of the rightness. So wise action is just engaging wherever I need to engage and finding the peaceful viewpoint wherever it's time to be at peace. So the peaceful viewpoint with my patient was, you're innocent. And what a nice way to just see him, not as somebody who's whatever it could be, irresponsible or whatever. Just see him as exactly benefiting all of us through his journey. What a gift to cherish him. What a gift to cherish my husband. What a gift to me, because it opens my heart. And I love being a vehicle for love. So wise action is aligning my position towards others, aligning my actions back into that truth point. So it's reinforced. The knowing and the acting reinforce each other in congruence. And now there's just joy. There's joy because I'm so glad I had this situation. It's tapped me into what most inspires me. It's helped me bring a gift of seeing the beautiful, seeing the beauty in the world around me. In fact, I can always say at this point, I'm so grateful for this situation. If something similar happens again, I'm looking forward to it. That's when I know the wise action that's been called forth, that is exactly aligned with my true being. Gratitude, preciousness, joy. This is what we are.